CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Taking a live look outside, we had some passing showers today, but it looks like we're going to see a fairly drier week. Next, weather meteorologist Cindy Pressler explains why. Plus, I know, Cindy, you are tracking the tropics.
Yes, extremely busy tropics. I'll get to that in a second, because right now we're dealing with a few passing, like Naja said, a few passing showers. It's the return of the Saharan dust. That's a drier layer of air that's going to be moving over South Florida. So that will suppress shower and thunderstorm activity. Breezy east to northeasterly winds. We've had some gusts today near 30 miles per hour. That's going to continue through the week. And these little showers brought in by the sea breezes, but really heading toward the west coast because of the flow coming out of the east, and of course tropics, a lot to talk about there. So just a few passing showers earlier today. We picked up some nice rain along the coastal areas. Winds right now out of the east, actually with some gusts nearing 30 miles an hour again, although it's not showing that, but it is breezy out there. And our temperature 90 degrees. High so far has been 91, so we're going to have lower temperatures as well, but it still feels like 101. Not quite as high as we saw just a week or so ago. So as far as any rain tonight, I think most of the area is going to be dry. It'll be breezy and mild. Just a spot shower here and there this evening, and then overnight mostly dry, maybe a spot shower. Then by tomorrow morning, not nearly what we've been used to seeing each and every day. So kind of passing through, going through quickly, making its way from east to west. A lot of these showers kind of ending up on the west side of the state. So that's really going to be our pattern for the next few days. But because of these winds, we have to watch out here. We have a small craft advisory in effect with gusts up to 29 miles per hour. Coastal areas, the Keys included, and also a rip current risk is going to be high, this at least until we get into Wednesday morning. So anyway, along the coastal areas, the beaches, going down around Homestead, southern Miami-Dade, be careful if you're on the beaches there. So our rain chances will be low, about 30 to 40% chance. That's much lower than we have been seeing. Now we head to the tropics. We've got four systems out here right now that we're talking about. Two that are named, but the couple that we are really watching closely, this one, Franklin, headed for the Dominican Republic tomorrow going into Wednesday. It's going to bring some heavy rain there, and then safely out into the Atlantic. No threat to South Florida. And this now is called a potential tropical cyclone 9 in the Gulf of Mexico, expected to become Harold later today or tonight. We're going to keep an eye on that one, but that rain is moving into Texas. So here's your forecast. Temperatures right around normal for this time of the year, with a low chance for showers and storms every day.
All right, thank you, Cindy. In Broward, it was all smiles as students made their way back to school. A short time ago, Superintendent Dr. Peter Licata spoke to the media. Superintendent Licata thanked the school board, teachers, and bus drivers for coming together to ensure that everything went off without a hitch.
I cannot tell you how impressed I am about the people on our campuses and the offices that support them, how great today was. I'm still beaming. I'm sure I look like I'm beaming, but just excited.
Dr. Licata says there are about 145 teacher openings in the district. He says that equals about 1%. Student enrollment is down in Broward schools by about 2,700 students, but he says he is thankful that this was a successful first day back to school. Well, all this week, CBS News Miami will bring you back to school stories. South Florida has been feeling the heat all summer long. Tomorrow, we're going to show you what's being done to stay cool at school. Also tomorrow, what's being done to help this wave of migrant students adjust to South Florida? And learning loss, it's a real thing, but how do parents and teachers tackle it? Our Joan Murray is exploring the options for parents Wednesday morning. And on Thursday, I will have a special report for you. It's on the Parental Rights and Education Bill and how it's impacting the classroom. And on Friday, what the recent Supreme Court ruling to ban affirmative action from college admissions means for South Florida students. That is this week on CBS News Miami Morning Edition. CBSMiami.com is helping you get ready to go back to school. You can find all of our back to school stories online, plus a helpful back to school guide. All of it is on CBSMiami.com. 8 candidates qualified for the first GOP primary debate, but the frontrunner says he's not going to be there. The reason why when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Former President Trump has made it official. He is skipping the first GOP primary debate. Trump says he doesn't need to be on stage because he's winning. CBS News Miami's Skylar Henry joins us live from Washington, D.C. And Skylar, we know the latest polls show that Trump is leading. His lead continues to grow. That's despite his legal troubles. But does the Republican Party still support him to be the Republican nominee?
Hey, Naja, good to see you. Overwhelmingly so, at least according to our recent CBS News polling. If you take a look at the numbers there, you'll see that the former president has a commanding lead over even his closest competitor, who is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has about 16% of likely GOP voter support as of today. Any of the other candidates in the single digits right now, and I think that goes to show just how much the Republican Party is continuing to stand by the former president despite his legal troubles. We know that many of those Republican voters also think that many of the charges that he is facing, not only down there in Florida, but in Georgia, New York, even here in Washington, D.C., are all politically motivated. And so they think that the former president, at least as of now, is the man for the job. Now, what that means in terms of him skipping the debate stage remains to be seen. We know that other candidates were asked about what they feel as if the former president's absence will mean in terms of their performance on the debate stage. A lot of differing opinions there. But I also think it's interesting, too, when you speak to Republican voters who talk to what they want to see from other potential candidates if it's not the former president, right? They do not want them to attack him. They would much rather have those candidates present as to why they feel as if they are the best person for the job. Hear some of their objectives and what they are hoping to accomplish, even what they hope to challenge the current administration and President Joe Biden, if and when they were to become the nominee and go up against him in an election next year, what they want to see them do. And so I think that is sort of where you see a bit of a split, if you will, in terms of some of the Republicans. But in terms of the numbers, by far and away, many Republicans are certainly still behind the former president.
And we've heard from some of the other candidates. They have very strong opinions about him skipping the debate. Is this potentially an opportunity for them to prove themselves?
Well, it depends on who you ask. We heard from former Vice President Mike Pence yesterday, who said that he hopes that the former president is on that debate stage, changes his mind. Even the head of the Republican Party, Ronna McDaniel, who has also said that she hopes that the former president changes his mind as well. But Vivek Ramaswamy, who is one of the candidates who we know will be on the debate stage on Wednesday, he said that he doesn't mind the former president's absence and that it gives him a little more breathing room in order to present his case as to why he feels as if he should be the nominee to the rest of the world. Even Governor DeSantis, who was asked about this today, said similar things, saying that he feels as if the former president should actually be on the stage, but understands if he's not. I think it'll be interesting to see sort of what happens if that is the case, if the former president is not there, how the other candidates perform, if other candidates not named Ron DeSantis, if they happen to overperform or outperform any of the others and somehow bump up in the polls, if you will. But this will give them an opportunity to shine, if you will. Keep in mind, the former president may be looking at some sort of counter-debate programming. He has a pre-recorded interview out, or at least in the chamber, if you will, with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson. There's yet to be announced when and where that interview will air, if it'll air at the same time as the debate, or if it'll be put out on Twitter or something like that. And so I think those are the other things that Republicans are certainly paying attention to.
Yeah, I think all those things you mentioned are certainly a possibility. Will be so interesting to see how it all unfolds. Skylar, thank you for your reporting. The west coast of the United States is taken by storm. Tropical storm Hilary is slamming the region with relentless rain. Forecasters warn more flash flooding and rock slides are possible. CBS News Miami's Max Dara reports from Las Vegas.
Hilary brought rain and wind to Nevada and hammered Southern California. And though the storm has pushed through this area, the risk of flooding and mudslides still remains. As dawn broke in Palm Springs, California Monday, residents woke up to floodwaters rushing through roads after Hilary dumped half of the city's annual rainfall in just a few hours. The first tropical storm to hit Southern California in more than 80 years brought lashing winds and heavy rainfall to a region much more accustomed to drought. As the floodwaters rose quickly in Victorville, California, Juan Pfeiffer and his mother decided to leave for higher ground.
All that started within an hour or two, and then just kept piling up, and the water keeps coming further back up the street.
The storm has already triggered mud and rock slides like this one in Sheep Canyon, California.
That is all avalanche debris.
In Los Angeles, where the storm flooded freeways, schools are closed today.
As you know, sometimes damage can occur in the hours and days after a storm hits, so Angelenos should continue to stay vigilant.
And it wasn't just California. Floodwaters from Hilary gushed through this casino parking lot in Las Vegas. Here along the Las Vegas Strip, the worst seems to be over. The storm has been downgraded, and the National Hurricane Center expects it to dissipate later today. Nevada's governor had called up the National Guard ahead of the storm. And in Yuma, Arizona, 60-mile-an-hour winds knocked down trees and power lines, leaving parts of the city without electricity. And just outside of Las Vegas at Mount Charleston, there is significant flooding in some communities where residents are sheltering in place. The Nevada National Guard is en route to assist. In Las Vegas, Max Darrow, CBS News, Miami.
President Joe Biden and the First Lady are in Maui. They left Reno and arrived in Hawaii to meet with residents and first responders. Residents there struggling to move on, including one family that spoke with CBS News Miami's Danya Backus.
A big cloud of black smoke went by.
12-year-old Dakota Armitage watched from his apartment balcony as disaster approached in Lahaina.
The whole neighborhood went up in 10 minutes or less.
Dakota, his sister, and mother Jessica escaped the deadly flames. She's still frustrated no one warned them to leave.
And people had to jump out into the water and stay in the water, and there needs to be something. I think there should be somebody accountable for this.
Local officials are now providing an update on the number of people unaccounted for. As of Monday morning, 850 names were on the missing persons list.
There is positive news in this number, because when this process began, the missing person list contained over 2,000 names. Through the tireless work of the FBI and the Maui Police Department, over 1,285 individuals have been located safe.
Tim Laberte's stepfather is one of the missing. He's posting flyers, holding out hope that he is still alive.
He might have left early, but ran into another area where it was bad or so, and they might have diverted him back, and he might have been going around in a circle.
Laberte gave officials a sample of his DNA in case it's needed to identify remains. Danya Backus, CBS News, Lahaina, Hawaii.
She lived most of her life in solitary confinement. Orcas are not solitary animals.
The orca had been in captivity for at least 5 decades. Protesters called for better treatment of the animals. Those in attendance say Lolita's death highlights animal cruelty, and they are calling for big changes.
I want this park shut down for good. The animals inside are suffering, they're starving, and they're dying, and they keep renewing their lease. They need to not renew the lease, shut it down, and get these animals to a sanctuary where they belong.
A former aquarium trainer told us that he didn't think Lolita would have been a good candidate to live in the wild. According to our news partners at the Miami Herald, Lolita's remains are in Georgia, and that's where official cause of death will be determined. New details. Inter Miami CF is back on the pitch today. They are fresh off winning their first trophy in franchise history. The team had the League's Cup trophy on display today, and this is video from the team practicing this morning. Messi did not take part. Inter Miami defeated Nashville in penalty kicks on Saturday night to win the League's Cup. The team will be back in action on Wednesday night in Cincinnati. That's the semifinals of Lamar Hunt's U.S. Open Cup. Congratulations to them. That's your Quickcast. I'm Nasha Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami.